Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast. I want to start doing it in a different accent every time. I think that can be our new thing.
I don't think you have that many accents available.
I don't. I have like two.
I only know one. It's usually like the anger accent. Like, is that an accent? Like, use the one that you when you're mad at me. Use that accent.
No. What's the? Is it I love you, man, or what's the one? Or slapping the bass, man, and she's like, you sound Irish or something.
I think that was a good movie. But
oh man, that movie is great. No, what do you want me to do? The Cody? I can't get mad at you on the microphone. It'll be loud.
I know.
Cody.
No, that's way nice. That's way
nicer.
nicer.
I can't. You have to actually make me mad for it to come out authentically.
Well, then I'll just have to carry on a microphone for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done with the podcast. It doesn't take long. When your wife is also your boss, it's very...
People, I think that people could resonate with that. I'm sure there's guys with wives out there.
Well, in the collective, like this side of the table is controlled by that side of the table.
Squad is giving me the craziest look right now.
Because he's got a little bit of the green in his eye from the light.
He's literally like this.
Yeah, you and him haven't been getting along very well.
No, we've been having a moment. He's like, but he's regressing. You know how toddlers regress? Squat isn't a toddler at all. He's also like literally 4 years old, but he's having a moment of like, I'm rebelling.
Yeah, he's upset about something.
Well, we've been working really hard. I do chalk it up to like, I feel like with dogs, it's always the human's fault, which it is. And I think that we've spoiled him with lots of attention, and he still gets a shit ton of attention. We both work from home. But I do think when you're really wrapped up in your work, like dogs know. And so then they like act out a little bit.
I mean, I bring his bed in here so he can hang out with me while I work.
I literally sleep with him at night and wake up with him in the morning and take him for walks and stick him on my back in a backpack and ruck with him for hours in 100-degree weather.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I don't know what else we can do.
I'm not sure.
But
so that's the problem. We get into this trap of like, then we don't pay attention to him for the 10 minutes he wants attention and he gets pissed.
Here we are. He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. But yeah, well, it's been fun. We've been deep in some work. We're cranking out some really good stuff. We've got some cool stuff coming down the pipe for the folks.
Yeah, I mean, Erika and I've been working like 7 days a week.
Yes.
Like all day, every day.
Cody did not play golf this weekend.
I didn't play golf this weekend. I played like a few holes last week. Like I practiced like for 30 minutes. Like, I mean, I was getting good. Like, I mean, I was like on average, like a 77 was a bad day. 73, 74. Like those were my like.
Well, it's not helping that it's 105 degrees either. So like if you were to do a 2-hour afternoon session, that's not a thing because it's hot here still.
Yeah, the only option you have is early morning, and then if you miss that, like you're done.
Yeah, and it's tough because we're both very productive in the morning.
Yeah.
So like, to say like I'm gonna go play golf and then like try and bang out like productive work from 2 to 4 p.m. or whenever you're not feeling your prime. It's like that is a hard thing to do. I personally like don't do that too often. I try to really focus my work times around when I'm feeling the most productive, which I think we both do a good job of that actually.
Yeah, like the for me, like a perfect time to golf would be like from 2 to 6 or like from 1 to 5 would be like my perfect time to golf because I would get all my work done. I would I mean, I'm not physically tired. I'm just like emotionally or like, creatively, I think, like not emotionally.
Your brain, the mental.
Yeah. Like, we wake up I start like I immediately when I wake up after I have my first cup of coffee, sometimes before I even take a sip, I do some type of work. I do it. Someone checks in or I check the programming or I post something on Instagram or, which is work. Some of you guys may not believe that that's work, but it's part of my work.
Yes. I think they know. I was posting last week about the email newsletter going out, and I was like losing my mind on it. And there were a few people that wrote me, and I felt validated. I needed to feel validated. They were like, I would be nerve-wracked too. And I'm like, it's hard.
Yeah. And, and I'm a golf fitness guy. So like, even though fitness is the second word, fitness is comes first in my life. So I mean, I prioritize getting my workout in early too. While like I still have really good energy mentally and physically. So that comes first for me. And so like in a perfect world, I would golf in the afternoon, but right now it's like 104 degrees in the afternoon or higher. I think that feels like, the heat index is like over 110. It's humid. It's just not, bad. It's not, no thank you.
Yeah, it's a no thank you for right now, but that's okay. I think it's been good for us to be in this season of like really building really awesome things because it's like a good time of year to be indoors.
Yeah,
like,
and then like
and crank out
for,
work.
And for fitness, like September is always like the second January, so
Yeah.
like everyone's going back to school. Like we're getting all of our programming like really set in stone. Like I've leveled it up. We have more offerings on the programs now. There's more at home options. There's more blog posts. We give more information. Like we're more available. Like I mean, it's everything you can imagine about it has been leveled up.
Yes.
And that takes work. So. And it's wild when you work for yourself. Like I think I've brought this up before. It's like I'm new to this. You've worked for yourself multiple times. Like, you know, there's always something to be done. Something can be updated. Something can be cleaned up. Your next post you can get your idea ready for that. Like the list goes on and on and on of what you can be doing. And then so like I even have to prioritize. Like even when I first wake up, like. Here's how much, I need to do my most, like kind of like you do in your workouts.
Yeah.
Like I do my hardest thing first.
Yes.
Like so whatever it is, like on my to-do list, like whatever's going to be the most creatively challenging for me, because like my creative juices are only so abundant.
They're limited.
Like so.
Limited juices.
Yeah, so like, that's just not how my brain is like not meant for tons of creativity. Like I don't know what part of the brain I'm lacking, but anyways, you would probably say that multiple parts of my brain are lacking, but
there's a few dark spots.
So there's piles of sticks, but so like I have to like organize my day. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the hardest task I have to get done, and like the most uncomfortable. Some of the stuff we're doing right now is like actually very uncomfortable for me. So like I'm like, okay, let's bang this out, get that out of the way. Then that'll zap like 50% of my mental capacity.
Yeah,
like and then
totally.
And then towards the very end of the day, like if I've created like YouTube videos, like where it's just mindless like data entry at that point, like I need to upload these videos and type all this stuff. Like okay, I'll just do that at the very end of the day when I have nothing left.
Yeah, we're lucky. It's a cool thing though when you're working for yourself, getting to at least have a little more control of your schedule though. Like the pros and the cons, like the cons being that's challenging, like to have the discipline, but then the pro is like that you can do that. You can choose like when you're working and when you're putting in the time.
And it's like one of those things like, so it's when you use someone's like programming or read an email, like on the consumer end, it should look very easy. Like it should be very cleanly delivered to them. Like, oh, this isn't much work. Like on the back end, like
yes,
I just get it like this. How hard could this be?
Yes,
like
we've all said that about something.
We've all said that. Like when I'm like, oh my god, how did Twitter lay off 10,000 people? How do they have that many people? Like it's a freaking app that comes to my phone. How do they have that many people working there?
Well, they were bloated actually for real.
But yeah, but they have still thousands more. And so do all these other companies. It's like it's an app on my phone. Like why is there that many people working on this thing? Now I know.
Yeah. Yeah, like what are people's jobs? Like what are people doing?
What do they do all day? Like they just sit around and fuck around on this app all day and like get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like what the hell? And now I'm like, oh, now I know what they do. There's a million things you have to do.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, people that are out there doing the grind, they know. Like you just, oh, I just spent 3 hours on this PDF that I didn't realize. Or it's like, oh, I thought I was going to update your links page in 5 minutes. It took me a day. Like it's like, what the fuck?
Like I'm going through our off season. I'm going through our off season program right now. And adding in some like swaps and some, for those who don't follow my programs, like Train Heroic has a really cool swap feature. So if there's ever exercise that you don't have the equipment for, that you don't have the skill set to do, maybe you're traveling, whatever it is, like that you can't do that exercise, there's a swap option. You can swap literally to a different exercise. And I give all these examples for that. So for every example there has to be a video that's uploaded. There has to be a template to tell you how to do that, like so on and so forth. And it goes on and on and on. And every single video needs to have like all these little checkpoints, like how many reps do you do, how much weight, what are the descriptions, what are the points of performance of this particular exercise, like yeah. And so on your end, cool, easy, swap, boom, there's my exercise.
Yep.
On my end, everything has to go in, which is great.
No, it's good.
It's my job. It's what people paid, that's our transaction. Like,
that's right.
I've agreed to do said work and get for this product, and then you've agreed to pay me the $29 a month, or it's about to actually go up to $38. So when you hear this, it's now $38 a month. You missed out on $29, but you can still buy a year and get 2 months free. Anyways, yeah. So like that's how the transaction works. Cody does the work. You do this.
That's
and,
how
the world works.
And thus capitalism.
And thus capitalism in a nutshell. There you go.
Good job, Cody. Thank you for Econ 101 today.
There we go. Am I done for the day?
Are your brain cells done?
My brain cells are so done. That's it.
10 a.m. Done. Yeah, 10:30.
I'm about to be like squat. I need a nap.
Well, I don't know. It almost was a good segue, but like it kind of segues into like our topic today, which is getting started, which is our topic specifically is the top 5 mistakes that people make when they're starting their fitness journey. And these are things, this is coming from decades combined experience between both of us, coaching groups, coaching one-on-one, seeing what's out there, seeing, there's a reason that there's a multi-billion-dollar fitness and health, quote unquote, industry out there, because that industry capitalizes on the fact that there are always people new to the industry, but also there are always people that are stopping and starting over and over and over again. And so the biggest reason that people fail is because they quit. They drop out. They literally quit. If people stuck with it, they would see that it takes a minute, but if you stick with anything, like you'll get there. It just takes time. And so we're going to outline just like our top 5, kind of unpack the top 5 mistakes that people make. We'll go in like no particular order.
Lead us off,
and hopefully kind of help people troubleshoot and solve for these 5 things. Yeah, kick us off.
Troubleshoot and solve. I like that.
Troubleshoot and solve. Let's go. So we have a list.
I think I want to start with the last one on our list, to be honest.
Okay, go for it.
That does say comparison, right?
Yeah, it's we've got a notebook over there, or a notebook, a whiteboard over there with my chicken scratch is bad.
I probably should have wrote it.
Well, I can read it. I can read my.
All right, I have better handwriting, but anyways,
unrealistic expectation and comparison is the first one.
Because I think that's where a lot of people actually decide to get going, right? Because like you're seeing what this other person has, seeing what they can do, right? That's a comparison, and then you're comparing what you can do to that person.
Okay.
So like, how do I get some of what that person has, right? Yeah. So like you're comparing, right? And that becomes a problem because you could compare yourself to someone like you or someone like me that's been doing this for 20 years and you've never done it a day in your life. So now you're setting these unrealistic expectations to get to wherever that level is. And maybe you don't have a really deep understanding of how long it took that person to get there, or how long it's going to take you to get there, if you can get there at all, because like we're all so different that maybe you don't have that, like especially if you're looking like for a physique or something like that, like genetically you may not even be able to look like that, or that person could be on steroids, who knows. So I think that's a good place to start, because like that's kind of where people may get that light bulb that goes off that's like, oh yeah, I need to do that to get that, because that's what I want.
Totally and at very first, it's not a bad thing to have inspiration, right? I think that there's something to be said about that, right? There's people in my life that I've looked up to, whether it's like an athlete that's running a certain pace or doing a certain event a certain way, where it's like, oh, humans can do that. I want that. Mm-hmm. So there's that part of it where it's motivating, and that's obviously not a bad thing at all. We can sort of use comparison to be like, cool, I obviously have work to do. Let's level myself up. And I think people do that too for their health, where it's like, wow, that person, they sleep 9 hours a day. That's awesome. I want to get my sleep better. My sleep is trash. Whatever that it is, where it can feel very motivating at first. And I think that that's good. But where it can go wrong is we see what we see typically on social media, on the internet, and we're not getting any context. How long that person's been doing what they're doing, what their life is day to day, right? I talk about this all the time, where it's like, if you're a brand new mom, it's cool if you like don't compare yourself to the 20-year-old that has like no responsibilities and like is Fitspo Jenny, like doing her 6 workouts a day on the internet or whatever, right? Those are very extreme examples, but the point is that it's like we have different seasons of life. You've got the guy that just got a promotion. He became partner at his law firm, and maybe he has 3 hours a week to work out and not 20 or even 10 or whatever, right? And so we can get in this trap big time of, well, this person has this and I want it, and I'm just going to put a square peg into a round hole. Well, that's it. Literally, you cannot put a square peg into a round hole. And so I forget where this illustration first came from, but it's like, if your expectation is up here, for people that can't see, my hand's above my head. If your expectation's way up here and you can only come here, which is the foot below the hand above my head, that foot-long gap in between is where we start to feel like garbage, because we can't even meet the bar that we've set for ourselves. And if you really can't, then you're going to feel like shit when you're working really hard and putting the time into it and you're not getting there.
Right.
So if we can just kind of reevaluate and instead approach things as, well, this person looks like this and that's motivating to me. What are the steps that I can do to get 5% better this month? 1% better today? Whatever, like incrementally more small habitual habits, like tiny little piece of the pie instead of this grandiose thing that someone else has that is probably not necessarily achievable for you.
Right.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
I actually really like that analogy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And like, I mean, I think like, we are examples of that, right? Like, I don't think that we don't have children.
Yes.
We don't go out to eat. We're very satisfied and like working a lot. We're very satisfied with eating the same thing every day and like very sticking to our goals. And like, this is where we're at. If you have children, if you have a 9 to 5, like if you got all this stuff going on, there's that gap. Like, we don't have that stuff.
Totally.
That fills up your space to get to that level, unless you're going to be like insane and like wake up at 2:00 in the morning and bang it all out before your kid wakes up, and then somehow you're going to still get adequate sleep. Like, it's just it's not in the cards right now, and that's great because you have other things in your life that fulfill that gap for you.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
This person online may not.
Yes.
Like, I think one of the really motivating people out there is like, or rest in peace, was Kobe Bryant. And he talked about all the crazy hard work that he did. And he's got children, all that kind of stuff, but he also had a lot of money, and he had tons of resources to like handle all that stuff for him.
Yes.
Right. So like, if you got to be realistic there.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up celebrities, actually, because I forget about this. I still forget about celebrity culture because I pay zero attention to it, but it still is so much out there that it infiltrates into your social feed somehow or whatever. But like the Barbie diet or whatever her name, Margot Robbie, like that came up, like that was a thing recently. Like, what was her diet? And I like my 1990s like childhood brain goes like, holy shit, we're still doing this. We're still like looking at a girl that's a movie star and we're still wondering what she eats.
Yeah.
Like, that really blows my fucking mind, honestly. Yeah. Like, I'm very passionate about it.
Her diet wasn't that bad, though. It was actually pretty normal.
I don't care what her diet was, to be honest. Good for her. Of course it wasn't. She looked good. Like, she's not eating like shit. I'm not surprised by that. But, like, are we seriously still, like, well, she did that and she's pop culture, so I'm going to do that right now. Guys, like, let's do better than that. Yeah. It's her diet isn't going to fix you or turn you into a blonde 6 foot tall model. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Remember what she looked like before Barbie? She still looked pretty damn good.
She's beautiful. Like, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not discrediting her. I'm also not here shitting on her diet because I don't even know the nuances of it. And I literally don't care. But it's like, can we just remove ourselves from doing that and like maybe just take a pause on like the fact that these celebrities do have a lot more resources than we do, a la chefs, a la money, a la kitchens that are well above and beyond what we could ever imagine, or meal plans or whatever. Like, we have
the meal plan thing is,
we don't need to drink the water that Jennifer Aniston drinks and like think that we're going to look like Jennifer Aniston. She is a beautiful human being. Right. So it's like, so I think that like for, remembering that we, comparison sucks. My encouragement is always to don't follow these people if it's not making you feel good. If someone's motivating you, that's great. If someone's giving you good information on how to make good small changes, that's also great. But let's try not to compare to people that are in very different life situations, whether you know it or not. They might seem like they have the same life as you, but it might be that they don't. We just don't ever know.
Right.
What's next on the list? What order are we going in?
Just throw one out there. See what we got.
I think going too hard too soon is a top of mind one.
I like that one.
So kind of segue into like the celebrity diets or the crash diets or the 6-week challenges or the 30-day this or the I'm going to juice cleanse for 10 days and only drink juice and not eat food. These things are not very sustainable. And so what can seem like a really good idea in the beginning, changing your life 180 degrees is not sustainable.
Right.
I've never seen that work for people. I always tell people when I was doing a ton of consulting calls for nutrition, that would be like, well, I did keto and it worked for me. I'm like, did it? Because like now we're here on this phone call and obviously it didn't work for you because you're here now. So it worked until it didn't, right? And that can go for a lot of different diets. mostly the ones that are just cutting out food groups, or a fitness plan that's like work out 2 times a day for 60 minutes, or get 20,000 steps a day if you're starting from 2,000 a day.
Right.
Again, it's about like, where is that expectation of like, where is your life at now? Where do you want to be? And how can we incrementally get there instead of flipping your life completely upside down?
Right.
Going from 0 workouts a week to saying you're going to do it 6 days a week, you're setting yourself up for failure. It might last for a week and then you're going to stop doing it. And so again, because we tell ourselves, well, I'm going to do the 6 workouts a week, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Once we don't do that, we quit. Mm-hmm. We stop. We give up.
Right. I mean, I just had a guy message me over the weekend, probably. Today's Monday. And he was asking about our programs, like how many days a week? Do we offer nutrition help? And the answers are Lift Heavy Swing Fast is program 5 days a week. And yes, we do offer nutrition help. However, he was telling me that he hasn't worked out in years, all this kind of stuff. And he just wanted all this information all like ready to go like right now. And I had to tell him, I was like, hey, how about you do this? If you want to sign up for the program, I've written it where you can get away with actually, and now the program has changed a little bit this cycle that we just started today, that where you could actually do, and it was always kind of like this, so anyways, that you could do like either 2 or 3 workouts. We had main workouts, and I had a mobility day and a conditioning day. I've always had that, and I'm going to keep it that way for a long time. I'll say, hey, how do we do this? You get the program, and you'll start with the Monday and Wednesday program workouts. If they don't fall on Monday and Wednesday, it doesn't matter. Just do those 2 workouts for a little while, and then check back with me, after a month. I didn't set a time on it. Probably should have. And then tell me how you're going. And then next step would be add on that 3rd workout. Then once you've got that set, once that's your routine now, you're good with that, then start worrying about your nutrition.
Yeah.
Because the nutrition is the harder part.
Yes.
For 100%.
Yes, it is.
So I tell people, let's get going on your fitness first.
Yes.
That's a little bit easier. You get stronger, even if you still kind of eat like crap. Like you'll feel a little better. And then we can start work. Let's not do it all, like you said, all at once. We don't need this 180-degree turn all at once.
You just need your foot in the door.
Right.
And that's why, recommending exercise is usually actually a good first step.
Because people want to do more. They want to do something.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes, like, in your nutrition, it's like, hey, you gotta take away the shit.
Yes.
Let's put in some more protein. Let's put in some more healthy foods. Let's do this. Take away some of the Oreos and the chips and stuff like that. Like, that's a little harder at first. Let's get you in the gym. Let's get you doing something. And that way you feel better, and then you want to take care of yourself so that we can feel even better.
Right. You get the ball rolling for sure.
Right.
Yeah, we would both agree. I think that nutrition's the most important when it comes to your overall like physique and your health. Mm-hmm. But that, yes, fitness is often like the gateway, an easier way to like get into it for sure.
And that comes from our experience of working with actual humans. Again,
yeah.
Like, yeah, on paper, should you like dive right in and like get these 2? It shouldn't say like multiple workouts. I think 2 a week is a great place for a lot of people to start. But yeah, on paper and in a perfect world, should you day 1 hit your workout perfectly, eat perfectly, like whatever perfect looks like for you? Yeah, on paper that would be a great thing to happen. But we work with actual human beings.
Yes, we do.
And that doesn't happen.
Totally. Yeah. So if anybody's out there trying to tell you, you can change your body in 6 weeks and you can do this and this diet is this.
You could.
You can, in theory.
Yeah. But
set yourself up, back to number 1, for realistic expectations. Right. Set yourself up for realistic expectations. Know this. This is going to shock a lot of people, but guess what? Once you adopt these new habits and these new lifestyle changes, you actually have to keep doing them forever.
Right.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You actually have to do them forever. Like, it doesn't go away. You don't get to live on 5 hours of sleep anymore. That does have to get corrected, and you do have to do a good job of doing that. You do have to keep eating fruits and vegetables, not just because you're on a diet, but because life and you want to maintain your results. Mm-hmm. This is if you want to maintain your results. I guess you don't have to do it for forever if you don't want to maintain your results.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything for forever.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything you want.
But guess what? If you want to keep your results, you actually have to keep living your life in good, healthy ways. And the only way to do that is to make slow, gradual, habitual changes and not flip everything upside down.
Yeah. And I'm always like reminded of this like analogy that the guy that used to cut my hair years ago he'd be like, well, do you want to go shorter? He goes, because I can't put it back on once I take it off. Mm-hmm. Exercise is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
To go shorter first because you can add it on.
Yes.
And there's perfectly fine with that. It's, I feel like there's that mental issue if you jump in and you like commit to this 5-day-a-week program, which mine is, again, like I said, it's not 5 hard days. They're different. But if you commit to doing 5 days a week and you start missing one, you miss another one, you start to feel like a failure, the thing just kind of snowballs and you quit. Add it on slowly, reward yourself, I guess that would be a snowball too because you're just adding it on as it goes down. But as it gets bigger and bigger. So do it that way, not where it comes crashing down on you.
Yes.
And you fail.
Next up. Ooh, which one do we want to go into next? Trying to wing it, having no plan.
Yeah, let me start with this one.
Yeah, this is your jam.
Okay. So, and because I'm guilty of, because my page is guilty of this, and Instagram and social media is guilty of this because there is so much free content that, in theory, you could gather all this stuff and create one of the best. And actually, if you somehow very strategically pick something from my page, we'll just keep it in-house, you could create a workout program and it would be extremely effective. You got to ask yourself, do you have the know-how and the skill to do that? And do you want to spend the time doing that, organize all that, even if you do have that skill? Mm-hmm. Or would you rather pay a small monetary amount to get that for yourself?
Yep.
Now, this truly is not a plug to sell our program, but think about that. Do you want to spend all this time trying to pick all these exercises that you think you need and in what order they go in, how many reps and sets, all this kind of stuff? You really want to try to come up with all that on your own if you have no background in doing that? It's harder than it looks. I'll tell you that straight up. It's actually really hard. It's the hardest part of my job is creating programs. So yeah, is that what you want to do? Do you want to wing it? I would recommend you don't.
But, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't wing it.
I do not wing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to wing it.
Yeah.
It's I used to. Of course, there was a time in my life, if I always think back to going to the gym in college, where I was I kind of know I want to do my weights first and I'll do some cardio after. That was just the typical,
yeah.
I did some bicep curls. I knew how to run around with the dumbbells a little bit. I probably did 3x10 every single time for 3 years, and then would jump on the treadmill and do cardio or do abs or something like that afterwards.
Always gotta do the abs.
But anyway, that was very much winging it. Now I know better. I think, this is where Group X can actually be helpful for some people, truly, who at least are going in and they're having a workout programmed for them. I think that's what people like about it. Mm-hmm. There's the community aspect and then there's the programming around it. But then there's programming a step further, which is what Group X doesn't do, which is beyond one day of programming is how are you progressing? What's your week after week look like? What's your month after month look like? What are your goals specific to you? And that's where a program, there's just, I don't have anything else to compare it to. If you're going into the gym and just winging it, guess what? You're not going to get any results.
Right.
That's being I'm going to go into the grocery store. I know I want to make something for dinner. I'm just going to grab a few ingredients. I have no idea what I'm going to make and I'm going to bring them home with me. And it's maybe you could make something out of it. There's a chance. But it also might not be that good. I think that's exactly what it's like to just pick random workouts. Sure, it's food and it'll give you energy and nutrition if you eat it, but it might be garbage.
Right. Sure,
it's a workout and you might sweat and whatever, but it's not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
So,
and then I
have a
plan. If your drawback to getting a plan is that maybe you see that everything is for free and you don't have to pay for anything. And I think that's reasonable, right? Hey, I'm a smart guy or girl. I can figure out how to create a program. I don't need to pay somebody for this shit. I can do it. I would challenge you this. Whatever your job is, think about how much money you make at that job. Mm-hmm. You're probably better at that job than you are at writing programs. And if you're not, then maybe you should write programs. How much could you put into your job to make that money that it would cost you to buy a program? What if you put in an extra hour of work at your job? You're going to make more than our program costs $38 a month. Could you put in an hour of work?
Totally.
At your job and be able to afford that plus some more?
Totally.
And get your multiple hours back that you're going to spend trying to create your own program? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be much more worth your time? Are you going to get better results from that? What if think about if you are someone that's seriously picking out workouts off of Instagram, time yourself of how long you're going to spend doing that. you're going to spend a long time. I guarantee it. And not even that, like if you're looking at other people's exercises, you're going to get distracted. You're going to look at all this other shit on social media. You're going to spend hours.
Yeah. Not to mention how you're collecting all of that. It's like we've got the app. It's there. You put your results in.
It's organized. It's boom. It's ready to go. Like seriously, think about that from like a financial or like, am I talking about capitalism again or the economy part of it or something? I don't know what I'm doing.
It's the time value of money.
The time value of money. Exactly. Like, or with all that added time, could you pick up a side hustle and be making thousands of dollars a month? I don't know. Maybe you could.
You're inspiring people to just
buy our fucking program and then do something else with your time that you're going to get back. And then you're going to have much more results than you are yourself. And if you can write a program better than me, then just reach out to me and we can work together.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go.
Also recruiting. Also recruiting.
Coaching. Like if you can do it better than me, let me know. Let's go.
Okay, number 4. What is the 4th one? Not being honest with themselves. I think this is my favorite one. All right,
then I'll let you lead off.
Guys, we have to be honest with ourselves about what it is that we're doing, and in between what we're doing right, there's other things that we're doing with our day that we're not being honest with ourselves. Here's what I mean. From a nutrition standpoint, I get people that tell me all the time when I'm consulting with them in the beginning, and they're telling me what they're eating, and they're telling me they're eating vegetables and chicken breasts for dinner, and they're telling me they're waking up and making 2 eggs and a chicken breast for breakfast and oats and these picture perfect meals, but they're 40 pounds overweight. We didn't eat those things and become 40 pounds overweight. We're missing something, right? We have to be honest with ourselves about what it is that we are consuming in our diet. We have to be honest with ourselves about how consistent we are being about our fitness. And this is where we've talked about tracking results, tracking progress, tracking food. Doesn't have to be all the time, all at once. We're not telling everybody this isn't telling you to flip your life 180 degrees. It's about being honest with where you're at right now, because you're only hurting yourself. When you're telling yourself that you're not taking the nibbles and the bites of your kids' food, when you're not telling yourself or not recording the fact that you had 2 pieces of cake instead of 0 pieces of cake at the birthday party, or when you actually had 4 beers instead of 1 beers, or 2 margaritas after that. Oh yeah, and actually 2 shots earlier than that. Oh yeah, and it keeps going and going and going. Oh yeah, I did work out this week. I mean, I've gotten on calls with clients. This is still to this day. I mean, we work with our one-on-one clients where it's just like, all right, how are the workouts going? Well, I've been really consistent. Well, I just looked in your program and I see 2 days logged out of the last 3 weeks. Oh yeah, well this 1 week and it's like, I'm not out here to be like browbeating anyone or slapping people on the wrist. Well, do better. Like that's not how I coach people. Is like do better. But it's like, hey, like, who are you hurting here? It's not me. I'm not here to grade anybody's homework as your coach. I'm not giving people A, B, C, D, E, F ever.
Right.
The A+ person is the person who literally will be like, fuck, I was supposed to log, I was aiming for 2,200 calories. And they're the person that's like, whoa, I just logged 3,000 calories on this day over the weekend. I'm like, good. Now you can see what's getting you in trouble because you're being honest with yourself. Like you're not lying to yourself. You're not skipping that 1 day of tracking a week where it's getting you in trouble, and you're skipping that day because you're overindulging every time.
Right.
Or again, back to like the workout thing. It's like, where's your intensity level? Even if it's about something like that, how hard are you pushing yourself? Oh, it's not hard enough. Well, are you distracted on your phone the whole time? Are you chatting with people in between sets and you're actually resting for 13 minutes instead of 30 seconds? Like which one there's so many angles to go at this at, but it's like you are only hurting yourself. You are not here to impress coaches or other people. And if you're showing up to the gym consistently and you're really not seeing results, then you're missing something. We're actually missing something. You're not broken. And you don't want to tell yourself that you're broken either, because it's only going to get in your own way.
Right.
And I'm so passionate about this because I do think that this is actually like the number one thing that messes people up. Aside from just not getting started in the first place, because people can feel like overwhelmed with like information overload, or what we said before of just like not getting started and doing too much too soon.
Right.
It's just not being honest and just the little lies that we tell ourselves. The perfect example of this was when I started doing sessions. I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this. When I started doing sessions with clients at home, I had these clients in Austin. I went to their house and trained them. And when I first worked with them, they told me, that they ate really like healthy and clean, like as much as I don't love that word, whatever, like that they did pretty good on the nutrition front. And it's like, all right, cool. Like whatever, when I'm working with somebody, you typically just kind of like in the beginning, you're just like, cool, that's great. You nod my head. Let's just kind of get started with our workouts. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to their house and, they were making breakfast because I would do sessions like right in between breakfast and lunch or whatever. They were cleaning up from breakfast and I saw like kind of all this stuff that wasn't included in some of the things that we talked about in earlier conversations. Like there were vegan muffins and there were croissants sitting out and like all of these like fun little snacky dessert foods, which can be fine in small doses. But I was like, oh, this is a little different than what you told me you normally eat for breakfast. Well, and then like it gets started and it's like, oh, let's talk through, like, let me see your cabinets. I remember it was like it was a good conversation. Like I remember they were both like, well, maybe you should go through and like tell us what's not cool. And I was all right, let's right now go through an audit. And I would point out some of the things like with their permission. I wasn't like going through and just being an asshole. It was just like, all right, let's like have a productive conversation about this. But it's like, cool. Like, just be honest with what it is that you've got going on, because I think that it can actually be really helpful to like face your own shit. It can be hard, but being honest with yourself just means that you're going to make that much more progress because you're actually just getting out of your own way.
Right.
And I think that people can really trip up there. Yeah. You don't have anything to add to that?
I don't think there's anything to add to that, but, I'm trying to think of something to add.
I mean, you don't have to.
You kind of covered everything. I think let me just kind of relate it to golfers, since I don't think we that left me a little room there to talk about golfers. Like, I think being honest with yourself is like thinking about what really matters to you and like what you might have like issues with.
Yeah.
Right. Like golfers like tend to have like nagging injuries. Like it's just what they end up with, like their back or their knee or their ankle or something like that. And it's like not like making sure you put that at the top of one of your priority lists, right? Like kind of getting some help for that. And fitness can usually be the answer, like quite often, unless you're seriously injured. So, yeah. And I think you made a good point about intensity in the gyms. Like that's probably what I see the most is like, because like when I watch people, when I did one-on-ones, I don't do them anymore, but I'd ask someone like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how'd you feel that or something, knowing that they knew like in the back of their head, like, if I'm honest and say that was a 5 out of 10, he's going to add more weight. So I'm like, oh, that's a 7. People do that.
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't want to push, right? And you have to push.
Yes.
So like, you got to be honest. Like, was that really that hard for you, or are you just checking the box?
Yes.
Like that is huge. That is where you make tremendous gains in your fitness when you really start to push yourself and in your life.
Yes.
When you get uncomfortable and things like that, and things you do in your life, you do better. So yeah, I think that. Right there, and being honest, like with how you like make your to-do list. Like if your gym time or your fitness time like comes, at the end of your to-do list, and that the thing at the end of your to-do list never gets done, you gotta rearrange some stuff.
Yes,
prioritize.
Yeah, it can be like that too, where it's like, well, I have an hour every day. Well, it's been 3 weeks and you've never made that hour, so you don't have it.
Yeah, we got to adjust that hour.
So it needs to be 30 minutes.
Right.
Or something's got to go. Like this can show up in so many different ways. And I think that like, again, the reason that I always come back to tracking is because we're all like this, 100% same. If I weren't tracking my workouts, I couldn't recall. I couldn't tell you what I did last week. I could not tell you that. I do log that stuff. I keep a separate spreadsheet of it so I can like see it all in one big thing, like not just on our app or whatever, but like so I can just kind of see, oh, I haven't taken a rest day in like 5 days, rest day or whatever it is. And I'm like trying to be, oh man, like I thought that I had or whatever. Oh, I haven't done any like conditioning in 3 weeks. I thought that I was doing like conditioning once a week. We're not immune to this. It's totally like good to keep these diaries or journals or just whatever way we're tracking this kind of stuff, because it just keeps you in check. Mm-hmm. Anybody's job, if you're not, I can't name a job out there where you're not tracking some sort of metric.
Right.
Or your manager's not helping you track your metrics of performance or something like that. Like
100%.
If they're not, then how are we measuring our progress ever with anything?
Yeah. I mean, golfers keep your score.
Right.
But they cheat all the time.
And they tell themselves lies. Back to being honest with yourself. Okay. All right. So what's the last one?
See, her handwriting, like next time we do this, I will have to write these.
Not getting started in perfectionism.
Yeah.
Oh, did we not talk about that one yet?
So yeah, so there we go. Not getting started and perfectionism. So yeah, like I think one of the big like so I do like motivational speaking or like people that get on there and they do their little motivational spiels or whatever. And Seth Rogen was on there of all people. You know Seth Rogen from.
What are you talking about?
Perfectionism and getting started.
Yeah, but you said I do. You do.
I like the motivational speaking.
Oh, you like? Okay, I think that came across as you were like, I do like motivational speaking, and I thought that you were saying like, I do motivational speaking.
No,
and I was
no,
like, oh,
no,
since
not
when?
me personally. I like watching other people. Maybe one day I'll do it.
Yeah, you could.
But I got to be a better. I have to expand my
about
vocabulary.
Where you
okay, so anyways,
when you had time for that.
Getting started and. Anyways, so one of his thing was like, don't quit, but like, you have to get started, right? So his big thing was that he's seen so many people in the movie business, like, get started and fail. And then some people see that and they don't get started at all. So like they didn't even try. They didn't even dip their toe in the water. Mm-hmm. So that is the big thing. And because I think they see that if that person didn't do it perfect, they failed. So I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happens. Like, or again, like if it comes down to some of these things that kind of mesh together. So like if you're comparing yourself to someone and like that's perfect and that's like the only thing that you're into and like, wow, this is gonna be hard as shit. No, thank you. I'm not even gonna try. Or you spend, I think what we really mean with this is that you spend so much time trying to find the perfect program or the perfect meal plan or the perfect this or the perfect time to get started or whatever it is when all the stars align for you is like what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
And so you don't get started. I think that's what we mean here. And that's a real thing. Like, there's I can't tell you probably the number one objection that people have ever had in the history of fitness is like, I'm going to wait to get started until I'm done with this or until this is over or after the holidays or it's that. It's delaying the time to get started. Uh-huh. And then something else comes up and then shit just keeps happening and you never get started.
It's like we think life will just stop. And I'm glad that you brought this up because this is another favorite topic of mine. It's like, guess what? The time to get started is when you're busy and stressed as fuck.
Yeah.
Because if you can do it then and make time for it then it's going to be a part of your every single day.
Right.
Full stop.
Yeah. Or you're waiting to be super motivated or something like that. And like,
yes.
I made this post recently too. It's like, there's a lot of work that people are like demonizing, like, oh, you cannot be, it's discipline. It's not motivation. And I've posted that before because like there is a big part of discipline, but sometimes you are motivated. Maybe not, but you can't wait around and wait for that to happen. Like if you start your workout program, maybe in 2 weeks, you're gonna be super motivated, So you need to get started no matter how you feel.
Yeah. And I think this is a good one actually to end on because getting started and being afraid of perfectionism is a culmination of all 4 of the other points that we made, right? It is setting expectations that are realistic, right? Having a plan. These are all steps to help you get started and not worry about being perfect. Because there are workout programs out there that are just get your feet wet. Mm-hmm. Jump in and make one change. Start to drink more water. Walk for 5 extra minutes a day. There truly is no such thing as perfect. Nobody's got like the perfect plan. That's not what, if anyone's out there trying to tell you that their thing is, be skeptical as fuck. But yeah, the thing that people say all the time is like, I'm very all or nothing. And I'm like, what does that mean? We just say that and there's no meaning behind that. Like, what does that mean? All or nothing. Right.
Because if you were all or nothing, like, then you would like if you're all in on like drinking or eating like shit, like you would just be like a raging alcoholic and a glutton. Like, it's like you obviously have some restraint on something.
Yeah, like, and you're all one day and nothing the next day. That's not all or nothing.
Yeah,
that's being like, not honest with yourself. Back to our other point. Yeah. If somebody's really all in on something, they're all in. I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
All or nothing is not a thing.
Right.
We need to stop saying things that have no meaning and that we just hear people say. Because it's just an excuse that people tell themselves. So again, it comes back to being honest with yourself. I think that's like the value, the underlying value of all 5 of these like tenets that we just went over. But that's our list. I think like they're big ones, but they're not insurmountable. They're not impossible to get over. They're totally things that we've coached people through and people that are in our programs are working through. But this stuff doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We really are out here to help people simplify and meet people where they are at is a big part of what we do, and not dangling a carrot in front of them by 3 miles and just telling them, hurry up and get here.
Right.
It's not like that.
Right.
That's why we offer different programs, and that's why we offer different options for people. And because fitness is accessible to everybody, and everybody can make a step to being a little bit better wherever they're starting from.
Let me kind of point people in the right direction if they're listening to our podcast and they want to know what direction to go in our programs. So I'll just kind of go over a few of our program offerings and where they should go if they're getting started. Does that sound good to wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start out with our customizable golf mobility. There's a free download on that on our Train Heroic site and on our links page. So that's really for people that want to know their body swing connection. I got the TPI assessment on there. We can really customize a mobility program. I really think this is a fun place to start. And if you are actually injured or something, this would be a really good place to start to see to get your body right to jump into a full blown program. Because this is really just a mobility protocol to get you moving better. So that would be step one. If that's not you, if you're not injured and you don't want to know, go through all these assessments, know exactly what's going on, then if you are brand new to fitness, I would recommend our Golf Fitness Foundations. And again, I wrote 3 workouts a week in this one, plus a mobility day in there as well. Don't think that the 3 are required. I've always written workouts where the first 2 will cover everything, and then the third will be still cover everything, but just a little differently. It's a little bit lighter load. So if you can do the first 2, the third and the fourth will be there when you're ready. If you are a little more advanced, or let's say not advanced, actually let's say if you're more experienced, but you've been out of it for a while, right? Jump into Lift Heavy Swing Fast. I've got some beginner options in there. Again, you can start with just a couple days a week. If you're familiar with a lot of the movements in the gym in general, this will be fine for you. They're not crazy advanced, and you'll pick it up as you go along. So that's where you would get started with our programs.
Yep.
Lift Heavy Swing Fast comes with the nutrition, and as Erika and I talked about earlier, getting your workouts first, getting a few of those under your belt, then when you're ready, add on the nutrition, kind of layer it all in there, if you will.
Yes.
Is what I recommend. And then that's how you're set up for success. And that's what we got to offer for you.
Yeah. In our group, we have a private group for our Lift Heavy Swing Fast athletes. That's sort of where the extra coaching comes in. So obviously we are not available to do one-on-one coaching for our super affordable $38 a month for our Lift Heavy Swing Fast. But what we're able to do in the private group is answer group questions that hopefully help other people in the group. We go live in the group. We throw down our blog posts into the group, all the things. So that's really where we can help people with specific questions.
Form checks. You can upload a video.
Yes, all that kind of stuff.
We'll give you form feedback.
So check us out, codywescottgolf.com/links to get your free downloads, to see our social channels. All of the things on that page is a really great way to get access to what we've got to offer, our programs, all that stuff. Like and subscribe to this channel too, so you can stay up to date. We've been putting out weekly videos have been going out on YouTube, different fun little videos. We've been doing tutorials and nutrition stuff. Mm-hmm. So subscribe to the channel to keep up to date on that stuff. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So, and we're also on Instagram, send me a message. If you need something, we're available. So thank you all for listening.
Thanks, guys.